welcome to Just Chatting, Donna E.G. Haugen. And I am thrilled today because I have Kimber Tiernan with me. And Kimber is an intuitive and she is a spiritual healer out of Santa Monica. She's simply amazing. I worked with her and she is going to share with us some amazing things today, all about the energy of the universe, what's happening right now, what is going on. She actually gets downloads from the angels, from all kinds of places, and she's going to tell us about that. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned, because this is an opportunity that doesn't come around very often. Because I will be taking your questions in the chat. So as we get to the end, we have access to Kimber right here, and she can answer some of our questions. She can even help you find your purpose. And how do you do that? How do your angels help you? And let's go. Kimber, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Amazing. Like you said, I'm an intuitive and a healer out of Santa Monica. I read the Akashic records. And for those of you who don't know what the Akashic records are, they are a dimension of consciousness that contains everything that has happened, is happening, and possibly could happen. So they're probable timelines based on your frequency, your energy. It's basically the blueprint of your soul, the soul level truth of all your contracts, the reason why you incarnated, and the different energies of different lifetimes. So everything's held in the Akash. The Akashic records, it's a Sanskrit word that means substance. It's the filament of what all things are formed. So they're really amazing. It's a high level consciousness energy field where we can gather information. And so that's a big part of what I do. Another part is the hands-on healing of raising my vibration to help you elevate yours and clear the blocks, the templates that might be keeping you stuck of where you are to move into the next part of your life. And I use sound and a deep meditation to get you in that theta brainwave state where true healing happens.
That's fantastic. So I had the opportunity to work with her this summer. I was introduced by a mutual friend, Nina, who had done work with her. And she did all of that for me. And it was fascinating. She answered questions. She released some blocks. I was going through healing from loss and grief. When I tell you fascinating, she, at one point, I said, I felt when you released that. And she said, oh no, Donna, that was the noose around your neck. And I said, what? She said, you were a healer. She said, many lives, South America, a medicine woman. She said, but you were hung as a witch. And I have to tell you, she said, I took that off. And my whole life at night when I was trying to sleep, and I would try to, right before I went into the deep sleep, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't swallow. And I know now, because I haven't had that happen since then. Yeah.
Chill. Oh my gosh.
I had chills because it was frightening. It was frightening. I thought I had some sort of disorder about, how you go into fear and trauma before you fall asleep, but that wasn't the case. I mean, there was a noose around my neck because I was a healer and I was a witch. So anyway, but many beautiful things she shared with me. But we have so much to talk about because, you guys, she's got it all going on, and we are getting some questions. I hope so. So that's going to be amazing. So Kimber, tell us, what's going on with the energies right now in the universe?
So this is at a very intense time, as we all know. And about last October, I kept getting downloads. Every time I sat down to meditate, the guides were kind of yelling at me. And they're like, get in your pods, get connected with your people, get in your safe spaces, because what's coming down the line in February and March is super intense. And when I closed my eyes, I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Inception, but there's a scene where all the buildings are crumbling. And that's what they were showing me. And basically it was a metaphor of the old world is collapsing so we can build the new world. And so it was like these timeline convergences that I was seeing this big ball of light where everything just it was a trigger point for us all to step into our new truths, our new power, our new energy. And now I'm seeing this ball of light where there's consecutive timelines running parallel with each other. That's why nobody knows what's going on. It's like, if you look at from this perspective, that's the truth. And this perspective is another truth. And there's like the conspiracy theories. There's like all these different things going on. And from different perspectives, they're all true. And so what they're telling me is it's so vitally important for us to raise our frequency and go inside and find our truths and see what was working in the old world or what wasn't working. Let go of all those things that weren't working and really choose our real truth and our real voice and our real essence of who we are and what world we want to pick. Because as I'm seeing, there's like a split of timelines where we're kind of choosing the world we go in with our frequency, our vibration. And it's an exciting time. I think this is like one of the few, there's like more triggers coming along, but you'll be okay if you just stay in your center. And I saw a transmission by this channel, Bashar, and he's amazing, but it was called the Eye of the Storm, and being that eye of the hurricane and just being in that center. And that's exactly what they're showing for me, of just the more you stay centered and surrendered and focused on the higher realms and your higher truth and going inside, you'll be fine. It's just letting the chaos go around and stay centered.
So for those of us, I'm on that path. It's still challenging. So if people are new to even the concept, I mean, we've all heard, let's stay centered, right? Let's meditate, let's do this. But what could we do to try to incorporate that into our life right now if we're kind of newbies?
I'm a new person. So going inside, meditating, and getting in nature when you can, because nature does regenerate you. It recharges your whole energy body. Following your highest passions, your highest excitement, tuning into what it is that really, truly lights you up as a soul. And so getting in that authentic energy of who you are and letting go of those old programs of what everyone told you to be, if that makes sense. And so this is letting go of the old paradigm of the patriarchy or whatever, of like, this is, you need to do this, because nothing was working. People were working so hard and trying to do things. And this is allowing us all to just stop for a moment and go inside and listen to our hearts and connect with our angels. We have so many guides. We have so many beings helping us right now that it's kind of unreal. Like when I close my eyes and I tune into the world, I just feel all these energies, these galactic energies, these angels surrounding the planet, blasting us with light and helping, assisting the earth in her transmutation and her healing. And if you notice, the nature is healing right now. And so we're doing the same thing the earth is doing, which is amazing. So meditating, going inside, seeing, like unwinding those old programs that are in your cellular memory. And the old programs might be fear. It might be fear of speaking your truth. It might be, I have to do things a certain way because that's what my parents told me to do. Or those limited belief systems that might be still embedded in your cellular memory, and clearing those with your breath, clearing them with your meditation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So it's kind of sitting quietly, right? Listening to the kind of music you like, listening to the birds sing, doing things that calm you and that you enjoy.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, getting out of here and into here.
And into your heart. So our heart, practice on coming from
the heart practice, I think. And just even a good practice I love, it's like being heart-centered is actually a physical practice. So I like to either, like, say you're in somewhere where you get anxiety or something, like, and I'm sure people feel that when they go out in the world right now, just knock on your heart, like back to the heart, back to the heart, back to the heart. And you're hitting the thymus gland, which resets it. It releases hormones in your body. So just like back here. And also I like to imagine like a flower or a light in your heart center, and just breathe in and breathe out and unlocking every single cell in your heart and breathing out and just creating this heart centered, because where your breath goes, energy flows. Where your attention goes, energy flows. So if you bring your attention here, you get out of here and into here. Yeah.
Beautiful. I learned last year an exercise that has really helped me profoundly. It's very similar to that. So basically you soften your face and you close your eyes, but not all the way. You smile. So you take a breath in. And as you release the breath, you picture it sinking into your heart. And I mean, it can just take you right down. And isn't it pretty? And the next breath, breathe it in and sink it all the way down to the earth. And just take it all the way down. And it's the combination, I believe, of the breath, the smile, and the energy, taking it from here, dropping it to your heart, and then dropping it to the earth. So that helps me.
Yeah, that's great.
For sure. Good. That's super cool. So do we all, I have a question. Let me see if anybody else, do we all have our own particular angels?
Yes, I do believe there's collective angels like Archangel Michael, who shows up for so many people. He's just a very powerful, for those who don't know, he has the sword and the shield, and he's a protector angel. But we all have our own guides, our own energies we're working with. So you have your own, say, guardian angel or your guide. Sometimes it's a team of guides. And in the records, when I'm in people's Akashic records, I also see these archetypes or ascended masters in there, and those energies. So say you're working with Mother Mary for a while, and you need that motherly love and that very unconditional divine mother energy. She'll be in your records and just helping you with whatever you're working on. And then she might move out and another energies or 2 or 3 energies move in that assist you where you are on your path. So I also feel like your guides change based on what you need, because I see the guides as they contain a blueprint of energy. So like say Mother Mary is a blueprint of that unconditional love, or say Ganesha is a blueprint of somebody that can remove our obstacles. And so those energies move through your field to guide you with what you need. And also a really great way to connect with these energies is to invoke them.
Yes, that's what I wanted to know. How do we do that?
So when you invoke them, you're basically calling on them. So you're bringing your awareness, you're asking them for help. And that's the thing. We live in a free will universe. We live in a free will planet. And so our guides, our angels, unless it's a life or death situation or something really intense, they can't step in to help because we have free will. So we need to ask. And so all you need to do is ask them for help. But remembering it's a frequency, it's an energy. So when you're begging for help, it's kind of a different frequency. It's like you're still pushing them out like there's nobody there. And remembering everything is basically your subconscious mind pushed out and everything matches your frequency. So the angels love themselves so much that they will only come down so far. They won't come down to the darkness. You have to raise your vibration up to meet them. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So you raise your vibration and thank them. You get ahead of the game and thank them for their help and give them permission to come in and help. And then they speak to you in signs like numbers, or they speak to me in license plates all the time. Like I was driving home from a thing and I said, what do you want me to know right now? And this car pulled out in front of me and it said, thank you. I was like,
there you go.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And it literally it cut me off. And I was like, ugh. So you can ask different ways of how they speak to you, and they can speak to you in dreams. They can speak to you in signs and symbols, or they'll give you a download. And sometimes it might sound like your own voice, and you start to discern what is your voice and what's your guide's voice and what's your angel's voice. Does that make sense?
Yes. So we have a question on that, which is amazing. Okay, Nancy, hello, and thanks for joining us. Thank all of you guys for being here. We appreciate it, right? So Nancy said, if I'm trying to connect and invoke you, then you would call upon them. But if you see angels in your dreams and feel them, is it good to invite them in still if you're vibrating?
Yes, always. And if you're in a lower energy, if that's what you were saying, like in a lower energy, of course you could invite them in and thank them for coming in and helping you. And they're so there for you they're so there for your service. They want to be in service for you. That's their job.
I remember when I was working with you before we even started anything, or one of the steps in the very beginning was that you asked for my permission and had me give you permission to call upon your angels and your guides, as well as mine, to look inside of me and let you work with me and to let them help me. Is right? You had a little, that was part of the thing is that, and so a lot of times if I'm, I always kind of say, okay, Donna, I even give myself permission, which I'm hoping is giving my angels, but I'm going to make a point of my angels. So tell us about that part of it, is the permission part.
Yeah, that's the free will, because we all have free will. So we need to ask each other for permission to call on your angels or your guides. And we all have divine sovereignty. And I think that's something that's coming in a lot, is claiming that sovereignty, and that we're an individual part of the collective, but not being affected by other people or energies, and claiming that sovereignty. And so when I recognize your sovereignty, that it's your free will, whether or not I work on your field or invoke your angels or whatnot. Does that make sense? Or we can do it for people. We can ask, like, say, I really want my angels to come for my son. Say I'm feeling like my son might need some help. I can ask his angels I can invoke them, but he's going to have to be in a state where he can accept that help, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, Nancy, did we answer your question? If you want to just put yes or something, and just so, because otherwise we can circle back around and talk about that some more. But I think we did. It's just invite them in. Invite
them in, and you can have fun, like get angel cards or create an altar, a sacred space in your house, and put candles and maybe like a photo of whoever you want to work with, and really connect with their energy, because their energy is very palpable when you start realizing these different energies, and that they carry this beautiful signature frequency that, like right now, I'm really connecting with Mary Magdalene and the divine feminine lineage, and I just feel it so intensely around me. It's pretty magical.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And Nancy said that we did answer her question. And I'll share with you, after I worked with Kimber as well, I was meditating, and I have big chunks of amethyst and quartz, about this size. So I made a bath, and I put it full of Epsom salt. So there's a lot of energy in the water with the salt and the water. And I only had candles lit, and I played some music that I meditate to. But then I brought these quartz crystals and the amethyst into the bath with me and placed them on my chakras. And I started meditating, and suddenly I felt the presence of two presence, which I'm calling my angels. It was almost like they had lifted me up and were protecting me, and tears just started pouring down my face, like just tears. And I realized that I was here for a reason, because I've had so many opportunities where I could have perished. And I don't necessarily, like to call near death, but it wasn't like I died and came back, but I was in situations where sometimes it was a miracle that I wasn't hurt or killed. Okay, so I'm thinking, why me? And I felt cradled by them, and I had an answer, was that you do have a purpose. And that's what I felt, like you do have a purpose, and it doesn't have to be grand. It can be the smiles that you give to people at the grocery store or holding a door, because you can change people's lives by a smile. Like, you don't know you're doing it, but you 100%.
are. People always ask me, like in sessions, like, what's my purpose? And the guides always have a similar situation. They're like, people always think that their career is their purpose. And your career is not your purpose. Your purpose is the unique light codes, the unique frequency that's you. So your one job in this world is to be 100% authentically you. And that's enough.
That is beautiful.
And so we came as way showers. And, if you're watching this or you're in this realm, you're definitely a way shower. You're definitely a light worker, because you wouldn't be attracted to this kind of a broadcast, if that makes sense. So what they've shown me is being those volunteer souls that came to help raise the frequency of the planet, to help change and shift the planet to a higher dimensional frequency. So we drop in with these sacred codes and this unique frequency, and we're pillars of light, anchoring that light into the planet to just raise it. So us walking around and, like you said, smiling and talking and just sharing our energy fields is enough. And then everything else is an expression of that. And so doing what you're doing, which is, I love the biohacking. I love these broadcasts. It's raising a frequency in a more elevated, exciting way.
Beautiful. Sorry, it makes me so teary-eyed because because we are like we are born in joy, and we are joy. I mean, we are truly just joy, and we search for it, and we have such a hard time grasping it and holding on to it like it's something out there. It's just us. Yeah, it's just right.
Totally.
Right.
For sure. And we all are, you know, it's great to invoke the angels, and I love the help, but remembering we have it all inside. We have it all in our hearts. We have this beautiful pineal gland that's like an antenna to all the different frequencies, but in the end, like the whole universe is inside our bodies. And that's why the meditation is so important, to go inside and listen to your own intuition and your own guidance. And your body never lies. The body is this like beautiful tuning fork of expansion or contraction, and getting that energy. Like when something feels contractive, it's probably not for you. If it feels expansive, it's for you.
It's for you.
And tuning into that body. We're these amazing vessels.
Wow. Well, so tell me, so I still, and I am into this, but tell me about the ascension of the planet. Like, what does ascension mean? And when we talk about ascension.
Yeah. So ascension is a conscious choice to engage in evolution. So basically we're evolving as beings. We're evolving to more of a higher frequency being. And that planet Earth is ascending from a third density reality to a fourth or fifth dimension density reality, which means like the third dimension is very polarized. It's light, dark, black, and white. It's intense. You know what it's like out in the world. And so we're moving through, and we've been moving through this fourth dimension, which is time and space. And it's a very unstable realm, but what we're doing in the fourth dimension is we clear those blocks, we clear those templates, we clear bloodlines. Like we all incarnated to specific bloodlines to heal, say, alcoholism or anxiety or whatever runs through that family. And as we heal ourselves, we heal those bloodlines. So we're clearing all those old templates of the third dimensional reality to anchor in a fifth dimensional reality, which is more heart-centered. It's Christ consciousness. It's Sophia consciousness. It's working together as more of a collective energy where it's like the good of all. And dimensions are states of consciousness. So the higher consciousness you are, the higher dimensional frequency you work at. Like I feel like most of the time I'm pretty much anchored in a fifth dimensional reality. And every once in a while I'll drop to the third, and it's so uncomfortable. And I'm like, how did I get here? And then it's like, oh, there's something else to clear. And so I clear it, and then I heal it, and then I move. It's like the rubber band theory. The farther in the dark you go, the higher into the light you fly. So not being afraid of the light and the dark. Does that make sense?
Yes. And so we have a question, but we'll get to you, Tiffany, in just a second. So because what you said is pretty, like for me and maybe others, I feel like I'm on this journey. I'm moving forward, and I'm learning so much, and I'm making strides, and I'm not the person I was a year ago or yesterday or 6 months ago. And then it's like my head spins around, and I'm doing a behavior. I fell backwards right to something that I have been working on for such a very long time. And I've learned not to beat myself up, to treat myself with love and say, Donna, it's okay but I still have it. I'm still confused about why is that happening? Why did I put so much work in, and I thought I got it, and then I'm doing it.
There's several reasons for that. One is humans love patterns. And so we get these patterns embedded in our field, and we'll go back to patterns to clear it in an even deeper way. And also, I feel like time loops around where it gives you a mirror of some past behavior or past template or whatever, so that we can look at it from a higher level consciousness, and then we dive back into it, heal it even deeper. And then it's an opportunity. Every time we fall back, instead of going into that judgment, because judgment is just a lower frequency energy. It's
right.
Matt Kahn, he's a spiritual teacher. He has a book called Whatever Arises, Love That. And I love that because it's like whatever's coming up, love it. Dive into into it, go deeper, seeing what it's trying to tell you, and then clear it, and then you go to a higher. And it's when you're in the fifth dimension or higher energies, those frequencies, consciousness, it's not that bad things don't happen or you don't fall back into those old templates or behaviors. It's that your refractory period gets shorter. So what used to take me like months to move through takes me a couple hours. I'm like, oh, all right, I know how to do this. Let me go do this. And then it's like, I go even higher. So I actually welcome those dark moments. I welcome the grief. I welcome all that and go, oh, what's this trying to teach me? Because I know on the other side of that, I'm going to even go higher.
Higher. Beautiful. Okay, that is wonderful. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not 2 hours. 2 hours. I'm not that good.
We'll get there.
Not yet.
And sometimes it's a few days. Who knows?
You know, it is true. I have always believed since I was very young, even like 16, 17 years old, that everything that bad happened, whether I lost a job or whatever, I had my grief, but I always was kind of excited because I knew what was coming next was going to be better.
Always.
It was like, oh, I know my next job is going to be better. I know my next boyfriend's going to be better. But sometimes the pain is great. but
right.
I actually do know that. So, okay, thank you for that, because that's beautiful. And so our next question, I love these questions. You guys keep them coming. Like I said, like this, she is amazing. Kimber is amazing. How do we clear them so that we can move forward?
Amazing.
So that went back to where you were saying our ascension is clearing, right?
Yes. So the way we ascend is we do the inner child work, which I think the inner child work is so vitally important to go back and heal those moments in your time. So there's different processes. I help people through these processes, but one that's really great is just finding where in your body you're holding that. So say it's abandonment. So that's been one of my things to clear, is like abandonment issues. And so it's like, I'm on a twin flame path, which is a whole other story. But when he triggers me with that abandonment stuff, I find in my body where I'm holding it. And so then I'm like, okay, because our bodies are holding these memories. And you find that, so say it's in my heart. And I go into my heart and I breathe light into that. And then I breathe a healing energy to anyone else who's ever felt this way. And I go into a deep meditation and I go back in time, back in time to the first and the worst time I ever felt that way. And I allow whatever memory to come up. And sometimes it's so not what you think. It's not the big moments. It's like some little moment that you're like, oh, I did not know that just really stuck in my field. And what I do is I imagine. So your imagination is your gateway to creation. Your imagination is your connection with the divine. So with my imagination, I see the scene. I see myself, like whatever it is, sitting in my childhood room, and the me of me now, my adult version, will walk in and nurture her and love her and heal her and tell her how loved and how amazing and beautiful she is, and give her those things, that the emotions, the words that she didn't have access to at the time. Then I'll like walk her out of the room or the situation and give her a magic wand and collapse the timeline, collapse the memory and scene and release it and walk her out, and then calling angels, calling the guides, and surround her and put her back, integrate the inner child back into the heart center. And so I do so much imagination with my meditations to going back in time and healing those moments.
So, recently, I was doing some work with a guy in California, and he was showing us how to find those spots to release. And it wasn't necessarily the inner child. I forgot. It was just that day, like where are you feeling? Where do your hands stop? So is that something that we can all practice? Like if we just lie down and, breathe and relax, and then take our own hands and just move them over the body to see where they stop for no reason. There's no reason why they stop, right? But it's so if you had an intention of finding a pain, so if you have something you want to release from, like, why do I keep repeating this behavior or this pattern? I have a couple. I'm not going to share them right now. I probably should.
Right.
I mean, I can. Anyway. So you just do that. Like, I mean, I'm actually I'm having some triggers recently here. For the last 2.5 months, I've been alone, and I've been just so happy, and so being able to reach out to other people and speak to them and find their what's hurting and what they're like, why are they scared, and talk to them. And then just recently I feel myself like kind of going, my energy is shifting, but it's shifting backwards.
Gotcha.
Like I was saying. So I'm wondering, is that something I could do if I'm looking for that reason? Is it a matter of just feeling that energy and just seeing where my hand stops?
Yeah, that's a great, there's so many tools. It's being creative. And like I said, the imagination, using that and trusting yourself. We're all our greatest healers. We all know, what we need intuitively. If you just, that's the meditation, that's the calming, the quieting, and going inside, because you do know what you need. And we're always looking outside. We're always looking for validation. But when you really tune in to that authentic, true part of you, you know where you're holding it. You know what the issue is. And asking yourself, asking your guides, how do I clear this? And that's where I started, because I went through many dark nights of the soul, and I had to figure my way out. I mean, this was 99, and there weren't people talking like this. And I was in the dark, and it was like, how do I get out of this? And I had to just sit with myself and like, what do I need to do? And that's when the downloads came, or that's when things came through. I'm like, oh, this is all, anything I teach or anything, like I teach classes on this, and it's all a remembrance. We all remember this. Like, it's in our cellular structure. It's in our DNA of how to heal ourselves, how to come to wholeness, that you're already whole. You're just remembering that you are whole.
Right. We're too busy, our mind, right? That we forgot all of what's in our heart, in ourselves, because we're out there.
Remembering the ego wants to keep you exactly where you are. So that ego, bless the ego. I love the ego, but its job is to keep you exactly where you are, because that's what's safe. It's like the devil, So it wants to keep you in chaos. It wants to keep you in like whatever, because like, I know this, like, this is where we are. And so what I say is just, ego, come in service of the heart. I promise you're going to get everything you want. Just come in service of the heart for now, and then lead here, and your heart will tell you where you need to heal, what you need to clear, or who can help you. Because sometimes we do need assistance. Sometimes there are people that can guide us, that have gone through the fire, that have gone through that dark path of like, look, I figured out the way, let me show you how to come out. And so that's why we have guides. That's why we have healers or teachers or whoever. There's plenty of things on YouTube, or it's amazing.
You know what I keep hearing though, and our listeners might find this interesting too, because I try to stay on point, but there's so much information. But what I keep hearing is asking.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, like she said, ask your ego, come in service of the heart. Ask your minds, I think sometimes, come in service of the heart. Ask your angels, ask the universe. I speak to the universe a lot, and I ask it to heal my cells. I ask it to rejuvenate me to the healthy human woman on the planet Earth and the solar system of the Milky Way. I do that every single day, right? And I think it works. I have a doctor that told me my cells are the healthy cells of a woman in her early 30s after I did that mantra for months and months and months, and I still do that at night. So I speak to the universe, but I think that could just be a beautiful thing. Like, I'm going to make that point, is whatever you want for. And I know they tell us, if you want to be rich, you just picture yourself rich, whatever, think whatever you want to be, picture yourself, whatever. But the truth is, ask for it, and ask your heart, and give yourself permission to have it.
100%.
Or to heal, right? Like,
or even like asking, say you have anxiety. Like, when I used to have anxiety, I would talk to my anxiety like it was an energy, and be like, okay, anxiety. I would just look at it like a little me, and it was like, what is it that you need? What do you need? And it was like, more love, more safety, more compassion. So I bring that anxiety in my heart and give it so much love, telling every cell of your body, I love you. I love you. Like, you're right. Your cells are listening. Our cells are always listening. They're magnetic properties. And the red blood cells have this magnetism that are recording everything we say, everything we're telling our body. And so, like, I have a practice of just like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And every moment we're making like 1 million new red blood cells to the frequency of whatever we're in. So right in this moment, with this heartbeat, you're making 1 million red blood cells to the frequency of love.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So let me see. Hopefully, Tiffany, that she gave you a little exercise that you can work on. I know I'm going to use that one and go in and find what needs to be healed again.
It's always it's onions.
Peel that layer off again. So super interesting. And then, oh my goodness, I lost my thought because I was going to ask you something. I know when. Okay, you guys. Since you guys are here, this is pretty mind blowing. When I went to see Kimber, she said, Donna, you are a star seed of the first generation. Okay. So I went, oh, okay. And of course, we all want to be something. So I was pretty jacked about that. But I had no idea what it was, right? I was like, it must be cool. But so she explained it to me. And then I was a descendant, or came from the Pleiadians, which is another solar system, if you will, correct?
Another star system.
Star system.
Yeah.
And is it a different dimension?
Pretty much. We have the Pleiades, but there's different dimensions of the Pleiadian beings. Like, okay. So I really connect to the 12th dimensional Pleiadian collective. And so there are, like, we can see the Pleiades with our eyes, but different beings reside in different dimensions in the Pleiades, if that makes sense.
Okay. So when you start getting into this, and I said to her, I thought, oh, she tells everybody they're like a starseed because, it makes it really cool. They go, they're a starseed, and I said to her, I go, well, is everybody a starseed? Or she said, by the time that somebody sees me, they've reached a point where they're searching on the journey. And I guess I didn't ask if everybody was a starseed, but I don't remember how, but it was like, well, is this normal, And she said, for people, like, what do people think when you tell them that? And she said, by the time people reach me and are sitting in front of me, they're on a journey. They know there's something greater. They know that the universe has power and energy. We connected for a reason. So very seldom is there like a huge shock factor.
Yeah, very rare. Yeah.
So I think that was fascinating too, because the things that you are in, the things start coming to you as your mind and your energy start ascending. Can I use that word correctly? Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the higher you get, the more of these different energies you start connecting to and understanding. Being a starseed also is understanding you're a multidimensional being. That you've got these different dimensions where your soul resides. I mean, obviously, that Earth isn't the only planet we reside on. It's not the only planet with life. That would be absurd in these like huge galactic realms. And so being a starseed means that a large part of your soul has resided in a different planetary system or a different star system. And I really connect. I didn't know what the Pleiades were at all. And this came to me in a meditation where I was meditating, trying to find my twin flame because he wasn't connected to his body. And I was meditating, and all of a sudden I was like on this star system. And I'm like, where am I? He was there. And he's like, I'm hiding out here. It's too much down there. And these big light beings, these beautiful, like it was like this large collective of golden white, kind of a little bluish light, came above me, and these beings came down and they said, you're on what you would call the Pleiades. And I was like, the what? And they're like, this is how you heal. And they showed me grid systems and sacred geometry and like the grid systems around the universe and around the planet and all this stuff. And this was like 7 years ago, and I had no idea about any of the galactic stuff. And I was like, okay. And I dropped back in my body. That was like realer than anything. It was like watching a movie. When I Googled Pleiades, I couldn't even spell it. And then I found it, and it just felt like home. And I was like, oh, that feels like home. And my whole life I didn't feel home here. If that makes sense. Like I felt like there was a mistake. Like sometimes I'm like, this is not for me. And then I Googled the beings and I was like, that's exactly what I saw. So that opened up a whole new world, that there's all these dimensions of beings and they're helping us right now. Like the Pleiades have gone through their ascension process. So these beings are helping us. And basically what I found out like years later, after a lot of exploration, that was my future self telling me how I do this, how I help Earth and how I help other people. And so the future version of me in the Pleiades was helping me, if that makes sense. Then we've got Arcturian energy. We've got all sorts of different beautiful galactic beings helping us right now. And it's exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So I did do a lot of research as well. And then I read about all of the other galactical beings. And actually, when I talk to the universe, I talk to all the higher beings as well, because I know they're out there to help us now. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's bring it in. And I have a long ways to go, but it's a fascinating journey. And somebody like Kimber, to find you along the way has just been, pretty profound for me. Opened my eyes quite a bit. So I don't know. Does anybody else have any questions for her? This is so cool. No, but we are still listening, but we're open for questions. Anything? So Kimber, how do we, I know that you are getting a lot of downloads, right? Like you're getting it. And so is this, people are scared right now, or like, do you see that, they don't, like you, is it because there's so many things different?
There's so many things going on, and also know that we're healing a collective trauma. So through all this has activated a collective trauma and collective fear. So we're transmuting that collective trauma through our bodies. And it's like, it might trigger past life memories of scarcity or past life memories of, I know one thing I had to clear when it first started, I kept seeing tanks in the road and like military people. And it was like triggering a big fear in me. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh, this is another lifetime where something intense happened that was not safe. And so I went in and cleared it and told myself, this is not this timeline. This is not this lifetime. Let's raise our frequency, because it's clearing. It's for that clearing of that old energy. So just knowing, like, say, is this mine? Like when you feel that fear, you might be picking it up, because we're all empaths, and we might be picking it up from somewhere else, and like bringing more love and compassion, that, and trusting. Like that's where the angels come in, and like asking them for help and trusting that you're safe and trusting that everything's going to be okay. And the more you can surrender into that and that trust that everything is for you. Everything is for our greater good. Like even when it seems dark and scary, it's always an expansion. And so just loving yourself and trusting yourself through that.
Just know it. That's interesting how, like, I never thought that maybe the anxiety or the stress that I'm feeling is from something past. Like that's a new concept for me. So that'll be interesting to sit with it and say, is it really mine? I mean, that's eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And that is a good tool, because even you might be feeling people down the street and picking up on that energy. It's like, oh, and keeping your house clear, keeping your space clear, keeping your energy body clear is really helpful through that.
What does that look like, doing the sage? And
like saging it, using your imagination, like calling in the violet flame and moving this energy through your house, keeping it like clear and open your windows, get air, keeping your space clean right now and upgraded feels really great. I think of like the upgrading all your life and going inward and making everything as beautiful as possible is really great.
That's a good point too, because when I feel strongly that if we are all energy and we can do this and we can feel energy, and we know everything is energy, every single thing. Everybody's energy is kind of messed up right now, and it's nervous and stressed and cooped up and whatever all of those things that people are feeling, everything's got to be askew, right? going to be
For
hitting
sure.
us all.
Yeah, it's hitting all of us in different ways, different like times. And so just go with that is where we're going in. And how you were saying, envision the world you want to live in. I've been spending so much time envisioning this beautiful fifth dimensional world of like rainbow waterfalls and big trees and so much nature and fresh air, and just like holding that vision of that's where we're going and holding that energy and that frequency.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Well, how can we, like, are you doing like little, you know, on your website or something? How can we interact with you further and do some of this work and study with you? What would that look like?
My website's kimbertiernan.com. And I have been doing lots of Zoom sessions or FaceTime sessions, and they're amazing. The energy's non-local. So even like the Akashics are amazing, but even the energy healings have been amazing when I have people lie down. So that's great. I'm on Instagram at Kimber Tiernan. And yeah, just contact me, send me an email.
Okay, and yeah, so I'll be putting that, you guys, in all the notes, all of her contact information, and I'll put that in the notes later, because, and then maybe we can, you know, catch some of your stuff. She's pretty fascinating, and she's also in Santa Monica. If you get over there, in the cutest little place, it's absolutely beautiful. My friend Nancy, she said, I'm still listening. It's very interesting. It puts you in a comfort zone. And thank you for that, Nancy, because she's in Chicago, by the way, to the rest of you out there. And there's a lot, you know, some of us are places where it's not as much going on. Look, you know, I'm in Arizona and Scottsdale, and things are, you know, we opened up restaurants. They said, don't stay very long, like, eat fast, but I don't know. And we opened up salons. And then I talked to someone in California today, Nina, and she said, you guys, they're thinking of total lockdown in the house for 2 weeks. So, and Nancy's in Chicago. So everybody is being hit differently. My daughter's having a baby any minute, like any minute. So I know she's very nervous, right? She's very nervous. She has to go to the hospital, and, you know, has to kind of keep the baby at home for a long time. So we're all feeling different things. So, but to have you here as an angel with this just softness about you. I try to dress in my angel clothes too. I was like, I need white goddess clothes on today, because you know, I was going for the whole goddess thing. It took a while to figure that look out, but but to have you, because you are calming and you are comforting, and I think to know that there is an end to this, and like you said, the earth is healing. And we do have to come together collectively.
And
help you see it happening? Do you see it happening?
I do see it happening. I think on the other side of this is the most magical, beautiful world. I am loving every minute of this. I know it's hard for people, but I just see what we're doing. And I knew that, I mean, we've been talking about this for 15 years, about this change, and now it's here. And I was like, oh, here we are. We're going through it. We're in the portal. We're being birthed into this whole new world. So envision what world. And this is such a great time to get in alignment with, like, what are you here to create? Who are you here to be? What's really the authentic version of who you are? And we get to really redefine that. And it's super exciting.
That's beautiful. You have so many wonderful quotes that I was trying to write some of them down, but I'm going to have to go back to the transcript, because some of this is stuff I need to throw it out there for everyone, you know, that didn't listen, and of course give you credit for it, because these are they're such beautiful quotes. And, you know, as you were saying that, I thought, so picture yourself locked home, locked down. And when you open that door to go out, you could be whatever you want to be.
Absolutely.
Like, you can reinvent yourself and be this calmer, whatever you want to be, like whatever you think you know, create yourself, recreate yourself and the universe and the world that you want to live in.
Yep.
That's basically what you said, right?
Totally. And act as if you're that person that you know you truly are. And it is time to step into our power and our own truth and our full sovereignty and authentic self. It's so exciting to redefine that and really get in tune. Be like, oh, this is who I am. It's time to have the courage We're not going to get burned at the stake anymore. We're not going to get hung. We can actually be that authentic version and the healing version and the magical version that you truly, truly are.
Well, Kimber, I'm just overjoyed and so grateful that you honored me to take your time to be on Just Chatting and chat with me and my 13 viewers. You know, tomorrow could be 1,300 because this is recorded. So everyone, you know, tell your friends. Kimber's amazing. And I think the message that you have given, we need to plaster it on billboards right now. And you should probably be on TV and have your own show. Because that's the message.
You're a great host. It's amazing. This has been great.
Well, I love you. And I'm just so happy that you've been a part of my journey. I can't tell you enough of how meaningful that is to me. So
you're very inspiring. I want to come use all your biohacks.
Yeah, come biohack with me. That's for sure. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Good. Well, everyone, thank you for listening. I'm gonna let you go back and have lunch or do whatever you're doing. And don't forget to meditate and let's picture this world beautiful. And thank you, Kimber.
And breathe. And thank you. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.